Okay, this is the assignment where we're going to be introducing some artificial lighting to our scene. We're going to be introducing some primitives, and we're also going to be creating an arrangement. And so we're going to use a program called Bryce, originally developed by scientists, believe it or not, as a landscaping program. And so it's a great little program to get started with 3D animation and modeling. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and go into Bryce. And here I'm just going to try to orient you with the graphic interface and show you some of the tools. Okay, so if you look on here, this is your canvas or your screen that you're going to be working within. Okay, and then up here we have what are called the primitive shapes. The green shapes here, we have what are called metaballs, spheres, a torus or a ring. We have a cylinder, a cube, a pyramid, and finally a cone here. So these are your basic shapes that you're going to be using. When you click on one, for example, it's going to come up out here, and you're going to see it here in the arrangement here. And this is, again, it's just a cube here. We can click on any one of these points here, and usually on the edges there we're going to resize it that way. I'm just left clicking on the mouse button and dragging the mouse one way or the other. Okay, and also we can rotate some of these points. So if you hover over any given point, you'll notice the axis point shows up. In this case, that's the Z, or along the Z axis here. If you go up here to the Edit tab, this shows you the points here. There's Z, X, and then finally Y is up and down here. The same thing applies over here, right? So if we're on the Z axis here, we can click the point and drag the mouse while we're holding the mouse button down, and it'll resize it along that axis. Same thing here with Y. I can click, mouse, drag it one way, it's going to get taller. Drag it the other way, it's going to get shorter. Okay, and of course we have X. Now if we just want to resize the whole thing, we can grab a corner and do it. Or if you go up here, this is a resize tool, and again that's under the Edit tab. If you click right in the center of this and drag left or right with the mouse button, it does the same thing. Same thing with the axis points. If you go along the Z axis here, it's going to, and drag the mouse left or right, it's going to resize it one way or the other. Same thing with, again, with Y. It's going to go up or down. So you're accomplishing the same thing with these tools here. Okay. This tool over here kind of looks like the resize tool, but it's a reposition tool. So if I click and drag the mouse button on X, it's going to drag the object along that, but it's not necessarily going to resize it. Same thing here. If I go to Z and drag the mouse button right, it's going to go, or the mouse right while I'm clicking the button, it's going to go further away or closer to me. Same thing with Y. Again, I'm just left clicking the mouse button and dragging the mouse. Okay, so that's a reposition tool. Again, this is a resize tool. This is a rotation tool, so you can go on any axis point and rotate the object along there. Okay. Okay, and then here's Y, of course. And so these are the tools you'll want to use to reposition, to rotate, or to resize. Okay. Another way that you can rotate is just by going on to one of the axis points, say like Z for example, and holding down Control. So if I hold Control down while I left click the mouse button and drag, it's going to rotate on that axis point. But you have to hold Control down until when you see those dual arrows there, and then you can rotate it. Okay? So these are basically the tools that you're going to use. You're going to go on the Create tab here, and you're going to use these primitives for our first assignment. And under Edit, you might use some of these transformation tools, most notably the resize tool, the rotation tool, and finally the reposition tool.